Hello everyone and welcome to a most awaited match from the final round of the 37th European Club Cup. It is Viswanathan Anand versus Arjun Erigaisi. You've been hearing a lot about Arjun and Gukesh, and they've been just storming the world top rating lists, both of them 2700 plus, 2720 plus, reaching almost 2730 plus. So that is quite spectacular, but one person holds the title of the highest rank player from India, and that of course is former world champion Viswanathan Anand, who still at the age of 52 is amongst the world top 10. So an incredible feat in itself. Now Arjun will get a chance with the black pieces to grab a few points from Anand. So let's see how the game went. You will really have to focus for this one because it's really hard to follow. So Anand with the white pieces opens with pawn to e4. We have pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. So Anand challenges to a nice classical Ruy Lopez, and there are many possible replies here. You could go for the Morphy defense with a6, you could play the Berlin with knight to f6, you could play f5, the Yenish gambit, you could play bishop to c5, the classical defense against the Ruy Lopez, you could play d6, the old Steinitz defense, but Arjun goes for the sixth most popular option, and that is the Cozio defense with knight g to e7, and this is where he will test Anand's theory. So Anand replies with knight to c3, just continuing development, knight to g6. Now even if the knight is captured, the e5 pawn is defended, and Anand strikes in the center with pawn to d4. And now e captures on d4 is sort of the move here, but Arjun plays knight captures on d4, so he really prepared something special for Anand. Knight captures, e captures, and after queen captures on d4, just c6, chasing away the bishop, bishop to c4, and now even bishop, pawn to b5, chasing the bishop away further back. Now you could play bishop b3, you could play bishop e2, bishop to e2 by Arjun. And now there is a game from this year actually between Kirill Shevchenko and Christopher Repka where bishop queen to b6 was played. The game ended in a draw, but here we have pawn to b4. Arjun not messing around, he goes for Anand's knight, and it is now as of move 9 that we have a completely new game. So let's see how Anand deals with it. So of course he can go back to b1, he can go back to d1, but he plays knight to a4, which seems a bit scary. But he has a very nice idea of what he wants to do. Of course, now he controls the c5 square. At some point, the bishop will come to e3, so he will further gain more control. And after bishop to e7 and c4, this is where it really gets interesting. Now, if Arjun captures en passant with b captures, he just brings the knight back into the game. So, of course, that's not going to happen. But it's very interesting what Anand had in mind if Arjun went queen to a5. Now, the knight is hanging, and also b3, a discovered check is coming. Well, here you would have to play queen to d1. Interestingly, b3 of course doesn't work. Bishop to f6, and well, this is much better for black. So queen to d1 would have to be played, and now you really don't have much to worry about. If b3 check, you just play bishop to d2 and you are very happy. Even if queen to e5, you can even give up the e4 pawn. For example, castles, queen captures on e4 and rook e1, and the black is in well, black will have difficulties in this position. So that's why not queen to a5, even though it's perfectly fine to play. The engine really likes this move, but castles is what Arjun goes for. We have castles by Anand, and now bishop to f6. The bishop now assumes this diagonal, attacks the queen. Queen to d3, you have to free up this diagonal for the bishop, so might as well play it there. Rook to e8, and now pawn to c5. Anand gaining nice control here. A d5 is no longer possible because just c captures on d6 en passant, and well, it's not possible. So queen to e7, pawn to f3 now. Anand saying, okay, show me what I have to be worried about while playing this line. I'm just enjoying my position very much for the moment. And bishop to e5. Now Arjun shows that he will be able to play d5, as now d6 is covered by both the bishop and the queen. And also he might have some very unpleasant ideas towards Anand's king. So Anand just plays g3, which gives him more protection. The king is now a bit safer, but it also gives a target for Arjun to hone in on. He will play h5, h4, and try to open up Anand's king side. So here d5, striking in the center. Now you have to play c captures on d6. Of course, this is mandatory. Bishop captures, and now rook to d1. The rook no longer serves a purpose on the f file, so it is shifted to d1 with tempo. Now the bishop is hanging, bishop back to c6, and now bishop to e3. Of course, you don't want to allow this bishop to ever come to this diagonal, so now with full control over the c5 square, Anand is very happy. And notice that Arjun already pushed the b pawn and the d pawn, so once this knight lands on c5, it's going to be very hard to get rid of it from there. So here Arjun starts the attack on the king side, plays h5, knight to c5. It's not yet a monster knight, but it's a really fancy knight. So knight to e5, attacking the queen, queen to c2, and now pawn to h4, continuing the attack. And Anand now has to figure out how to deal with this. You could play something like king to g2, Anand plays pawn to f4, and now just knight to g4. And although you could trade here, it doesn't look like something you want to do. You just develop Arjun's bishop for free, allow his rooks to connect, and well, not how you want to play chess. So after this, we have bishop to d4, as the bishop on e3 was the target, and here you nicely control Arjun's knight on g4, and also put some pressure on black's king side. So rook to d8, and now we have knight back to a4 by Anand. Here we have to be really careful. Like the king, the king feels okay on g2, but here you might run into some ideas like rook captures on d4, and now you will have to play bishop captures on g4, because if rook captures, then knight to e3 check just picks up the queen on c2. So Anand has to be careful here. He goes knight back to a4, and now what do you play here? It's a very, very tricky position, and well, a sacrifice is needed here if you want to break through white's defenses, and the sacrifice that I'm talking about is h captures on g3, h captures, and now just bishop captures on f4. That's how you want to break through. G captures, rook d6, and go after the G file. This is not winning for black or anything. This is still perfectly fine for white, but it is the best Arjun can get out of the position. Instead of this, he goes for the immediate sacrifice with knight captures on h2, and this will be a bit more difficult to attack than the previous position that we've shown. So king captures, Anand has to accept this sacrifice, h captures on g3, and now king g2. Of course, not capturing the g3 pawn, because then queen g5 check and everything just falls apart. You will not be able to defend this. If you want, we can even show like queen f2, queen h4 check, king to g2, bishop captures on f4, going for g3, going for h2. You cannot survive this. So after h captures on g3, king to g2, which is very important, as now you have rook to h1 whenever you need it, so you don't have to worry about queen h4, queen h2. And here we have bishop captures on f4. Interestingly, it's the best move by the engine, and Arjun really playing this attack well, but there is a move that completely stops the attack and gives Anand a winning position, but it's not an easy move to find. So feel free to pause the video and try to win this game for Anand while I give you a couple of seconds, and I will give you a little hint. Think of Anand's immortal game against Levon Aronian that was played in 2015 in the Tata Steel. Might give you a nice idea. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on realizing what I was talking about. But even if you didn't know the game or you haven't seen it, congratulations on solving the position, as the move is bishop to c5. Anand played this in the game against Arjun, only he had the black pieces in that game. If you still haven't seen it, do check it out. It's such a beautiful game. I will put a link to it in the description. It will be the first thing you see. So, you can check it out after the game if you want. But yeah, now Arjun has a very unpleasant decision what to do. The queen is hanging. You can't just move the queen anywhere. You have to keep defending your rook here. And there are a couple of options to explore, like maybe bishop d6. Maybe you don't want to trade. You can offer a trade of bishops. But now Anand just plays rook to h1. And there's just no good way to get the attack. Now you guard the h2 square, the other rook is coming to f1, you will guard the f2 square. If bishop captures, knight captures, the knight here is a spectacular piece, completely nullifying the bishop. You're on the attack, you have to be developed, and here you are severely underdeveloped. So instead, after bishop to c5, you could play queen f6, might also be a nice idea, but Anand would just trade captures, and now play even bishop captures on b4. This would be just a slap in the face, grabbing a pawn in a position like this. The problem is you don't have anything. If queen h4, rook h1, if you try something like queen d4 to go rook to go queen f2, then just rook f1, you guard the f2 square. There's no way to reach the white king. And even if queen d4 attacking the bishop, you still don't care, because rook f1, you guard f2, and you're attacking the bishop on f4. And if captures, the knight is defended. And if queen d6 attacking the rook, you can just play rook f3. If bishop g4 attacking the rook, even rook d3, you still don't have to rush with capturing on g3. You attack the queen, and once queen h6 is played, going after this check, sort of trying to give up the bishop. Now you just play rook captures on g3, and there's not much to do. Bishop captures, queen captures, and yes, the white king is wide open, but the problem is after a move like rook d8, let's say you want to go rook d2, you can play rook d3, and if rook e8 going for e4, now just knight goes back into the game with c3. The knight can never be opposed. There's no b pawn, there's no d pawn. The e4 pawn is protected. You're just up a piece, so of course you will win. So because of all that, after bishop to c5, we have a most unexpected decision by Arjun, and that is to give up the queen. Arjun plays rook captures on d1. Now he leaves the queen hanging, and Anand has to accept it. I mean, there's no better move. So he captures the queen, and Arjun grabs the other rook as well. So 2 rooks for a queen. It's not a bad deal. Only Arjun already sacrificed a piece, so it's not quite. So here, it's again, you have to be very, very careful, but queen captures on c6 is sufficient. It attacks the rook and also threatens queen to e8 check, but Arjun thought of this as well. And it seems like you could play rook to b8, and it is such a spectacular line that I will show it. I apologize, before making the video I said that we will cover a few more lines in this game because they are spectacular, but just to see what they had to analyze, because Anand burned almost all of his time calculating the positions in this game. He ended the game like maybe with 4 minutes on the clock. So here queen to e8 check, king to h7, and queen captures on f7, now putting pressure on the bishop. Now there's bishop to h3 check, and this is also something that you have to calculate. King captures on h3, rook to h1 with check, and now the very unpleasant choice, king g2 or king to g4. King g2, and you can no longer win this with white, because we just harassed the white king. Rook h2 check, king f3, rook to f2 check, king g4, and now g2, and g1 is coming. Even if queen to f5 check, king to h8, and queen to h5 with check, you can block with bishop to h6, and again, not a lot to do. You can play queen h2, discards the g1 square and attacks the rook here, just rook to e8, attacks the bishop. And now let's say bishop f3, you have to give up some material, rook captures on e7, now king to g3. You chase away the rook, and after rook to d2, now you can capture here, and you've eliminated the pawn here, but you will not be winning this game. It's just too hard to coordinate white's pieces. However, after rook h1 check, king g4 is a possibility, and now Anand would just be straight out winning, because after g2 there's again the saving bishop to c5, which is kind of the theme of this game, stopping this g1 idea, and also the bishop is hanging, so there's really not all that much to do here. So that's the problem of why rook to b8 doesn't work. So Arjun finds rook to e1, another way to ask some questions, and now Anand has to decide what to do. Anand plays bishop to c4, and this is again very important. If you just grab the rook, then rook captures on e2, and you're pretty much in the same boat. That's not really, going well. Rook c2, and now bishop c5. Yes, you are guarding this diagonal against the passed pawn, but now king h7 on pinning. Now the bishop can be activated, and if queen captures bishop, which is kind of your only thing, g2 check, king g1, and now you force bishop to e3 check, and now the bishop must be captured. If the king moves, you promote the pawn with check, bringing a queen into the game, and if bishop captures, you win back your queen, and now it's rook and king captures on g2, so rook and 4 pawns versus bishop, knight, and 3 pawns should be a draw. So that's why you can't capture the queen right away. So instead we have bishop to c4. Now you don't have to worry about this piece hanging here, and rook to c1 now, pinning the bishop, and now comes king to f3, putting pressure on the bishop on f4, king to h7, and now Anand again has to make a choice. This was the final attempt at mixing it up. For example, if king captures on f4, then g2 is very, very strong, and Anand will not be winning this game. But Anand said now is the time to capture the rook. Queen captures on a8 was played, pawn to g2, and now bishop to c5. Interestingly, king captures on c2 also works, but bishop to c5 just takes care of all of the tactics, and you don't even have to calculate now. Rook captures on c4 was played, queen captures on c8 was played, and now g1 queen happened in the game, hoping for, of course, bishop captures on g1, and then rook captures on c8, which would just be a draw. But here Anand plays the absolute strongest and the only winning move, queen to h3 with check. So he just gets the queen out of harm's way, and it was in this position on move 35 that Arjun Erigaisi resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Once the king moves or you block with bishop to h4, just bishop captures on g1, wins the second queen, and that's it. Now you're just down too much material to even consider playing this. So yeah, brilliant game by both of them. Anand played a little bit better, and he was able to take down Arjun, who really tried a lot. First with this, well, like I said, sixth most popular continuation, then finding this very, very unpleasant continuation of the immediate b4, and I mean, it's just a crazy position, opening up the center and attacking on the king side. And it was all well up until this point where just captures, and bishop captures on f4, and it's still a game. I mean, you play it, but it's going to be much harder to defend, even though white is still perfectly fine, might even be better, but this was the way to go. He chose a different sacrifice, the wrong one, and then Anand just exploited it brilliantly after finding this bishop to c5 move, which pretty much seals the deal. So yeah, great attack, great defense, great counterattack, great game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a great time showing it, and let's not forget what this means for the standings. As where are my standings? Should be somewhere around here. As of course both of them are very top on the world rating list. So this is the world rating list now regarding classical play. The live one, of course, not the static one. So as you can see, okay, Magnus still on 28.58 with plus 2.8, as he had a very good event. But Anand, okay, he dropped 2 points because he lost that game to Hari Krishna, but still he returns to number 9 in the world. And Arjun drops the number 25, Gukesh number 23. And you can see Vidit, who had 6 wins in a row, is up by 19 points. So he's plus 19. He's on number 19 in the world currently. So that's what's happening. Caruana plus 6.4, also very nice. Goes up 3 squares to number 5. That's what's happening in the top of the classical chess world. So yeah, once again, that's the game, and a little bit of additional info. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I would like to thank GJ, Red Rose, Kerrigan, David Masse, and Matthew Benoit for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon. And if you still haven't seen Anand's Immortal game, first link in the description below. See you soon.